What's up, everybody? It's your man, MG Marcas Grant, and it's never too soon to talk about running backs. So on that note, I've got my top 10 fantasy running backs for 2022. And let's start it off, shall we? At number 10 with Nick Chubb. It hasn't mattered who the quarterback is or the style of offense. Chubb's touches and productions have remained steady throughout his first 4 NFL seasons. Also helps, he's been a consistent touchdown producer with at least 8 rushing scores in every campaign. Now, if someone takes a hit in 2022, it might be Kareem Hunt, but Chubb should continue to be a productive back for both the Browns and fantasy managers. At number 9, it's Leonard Fournette. Now, if I were more of a hot take artist, I'd have Fournette higher up my list. Alas, my stubborn hold on sanity keeps him near the bottom of the top 10. Nonetheless, Fournette was a top 10 back who played the lion's share of snaps in Tampa. He was 4th on the team in targets, 3rd in receptions. Now Antonio Brown is gone. Chris Godwin's still recovering from an ACL injury. There's a chance that Fournette's early season target share could increase, making him a potential great draft value. At number 8, Alvin Kamara. Now we're all used to seeing Kamara much higher up on these lists, but the times, they are changing in New Orleans. Much of Kamara's value came from his usage in the passing game, but his target rate dropped significantly in 2021, and that was on a roster lacking real pass-catching weapons. This year, the Saints welcomed back Michael Thomas and added rookie Chris Olave. Throw in Jameis Winston and his penchant for pushing the ball downfield. Those dump-offs to Kamara that we've loved so much over the years might be harder to come by. At number 7, Christian McCaffrey. Now, part of what made CMC the consensus number 1 overall pick for several years running was his availability and his usage. And yeah, his bananas on-field production helped too. But there weren't many running backs who had the same snap and touch share that McCaffrey did in 2018 and 2019. Unfortunately, what goes up must come down. Over the past 2 seasons, injuries have limited McCaffrey to just 10 total games. Makes you wonder whether the Panthers will ease some of his workload going forward. But when healthy, he still has the ability to be a league winner. It's also fair to hedge your investment in him on draft day. Number 6 is Joe Mixon. For years, it felt like Mixon was on the verge of a fantasy breakout. He fulfilled that promise in 2021 by finishing as the RB4. That's what happens when you play 64% of the snaps and take 40% of the touches. Mixon's situation isn't likely to change much this year. That's good news for the undisputed lead back in one of the NFL's emerging offenses. As long as he stays healthy, Mixon should be back among fantasy football's elites at running back. My number 5 back is Dalvin Cook. Cook's been so steady in his 5 NFL campaigns that we might be starting to take him for granted. The one thing that has kept him from truly being in the conversation for number 1 overall has been health. Cook's never played more than 14 games in a season. But when he's on the field, you can pencil him in for at least 1,100 rushing yards and a decent target share. If his touchdown numbers get back closer to double digits, he'll once again be a candidate to finish among the top 3 at his position. At number 4, I've got Najee Harris. Now, weird offseason arguments about his weight notwithstanding, Harris is one of the few running backs who can truly claim the title of workhorse. He led the NFL in total touches in 2021, boosted by 94 targets. That target share is likely to come down this season for 2 reasons. 1, with no Ben Roethlisberger, he may not see as many quick and easy dump-offs. And 2, the Steelers have hinted that they may ease his workload in 2022. Still, it's not likely that anyone else on Pittsburgh's depth chart will eat into his opportunities enough to prevent us from drafting him early in the first round. On to number 3, it's Austin Ekeler. Of the players on this list, Ekeler projects to get the fewest carries. Conversely, he figures to catch the most passes. And in our current PPR world, that forecast is worth its weight in gold. Chargers were one of the league's most explosive offenses in 2021, finishing the year having run the 4th most plays and scoring the 5th most points. Look for the Bolts to strike like lightning yet again in 2022, meaning Ekeler will again be in the mix as one of the top scoring players in fantasy football. At number 2, it's Derrick Henry. Now, it seemed unfathomable that Henry could top his monstrous 2020 season. Still, he was on his way to doing just that before a broken foot cost him 9 games. Even with only 8 games played, El Tractorcito finished as a top 20 running back. More importantly, he was on his way to smashing his career high in receptions, taking away the one knock in his game. Titans are trying to rebuild their offense after losing A.J. Brown and Julio Jones in the offseason, which means King Henry could have a royally heavy workload. And so that brings us to my number 1 running back in 2022, and no surprise, It's Jonathan Taylor. It didn't take long for Taylor to ascend to the top of the fantasy football rankings. In just his second season, he took the lead in the Colts stable, rumbling for over 2,100 scrimmage yards and a whopping 20 total touchdowns. Even with hope for an upgraded passing game, this offense still centers around Taylor. Barring injury, 350-plus touches seems like a certainty, makes the young back the consensus top player off the board in 2022. If you want to bring home a championship this year, be sure to check out the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast with myself and Michael F. Florio every week, bringing you the best in news and analysis around fantasy football. Check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you can download fine podcasts.